And what I'm seeing is it's housing's all over the map. But if you look at the stories popping up in the crime, that seems to be a paper that's very pro housing density. And they just had a great article about this guy on Ord Street in San Francisco that wanted to take his single family residence and turn it into a fiveplex. And so the local neighbors got together, banded together, and they have totally put a stop to it. But since Prop 9 and Prop 10 look like they're going straight through, I don't think he's going to have to wait long to get his fiveplex on that piece of property.
Let's just jump right into that, what you just said there, that it looks like Proposition 9 and 10 are going straight through. Jay, is that what you're seeing? I haven't been, they're moving in that direction then?
Yeah, it seems that way. I know here in Alameda, from what I understand, Alameda is one of only 3 or 4 cities that supported Prop 9 out of 200-300 cities in the state. And I think that's largely, well, we have a 5-person city council, and 3 of the people are sort of part of a machine that starts, I guess, with Rob Bonta, and who's now Attorney General. And I think he's closely tied in with Barbara Lee, who's in Oakland. Bonta's wife, Mia Bonta, is, I mean, the situation is not good. Yeah. And the more I get involved, the more corrupt I realize it is. You know, they say politics is local. And so the people in Congress who are screwing everything up, they got their, you know, they cut their teeth in local government.
Right.
They learn these techniques.
In California, particularly, and the planet in general, we have this, you know, the economic engine or juggernaut of money making and development of land and more people has been our, you know, what we've been born into, you know, America and Western civilization, and the ecological issues that began to come to the forefront, I think, back when the 3 of us were young guys, and in the 60s was like, where are we going with this? And how far do you go? And do we ever have some kind of ecological balance? So I'm still thinking that somehow the ecological balance party may be tied in with just some practicality, would be, I don't know, that'd be a party I'd like to be a part of. But
I don't know if there really is the possibility of having a party like that. The politicians may start out well-intended, but sooner or later it's a matter of power and re-election and manipulation. And I think even if you start out, you know, with best intentions, I have a feeling that the organizations become corrupted by this. You know, I'm a retired surgeon, and I was very active with the California Medical Association from then on. The university organization at UCLA, they started manipulating everything. And it just went from bad to worse. Started with well-intentioned people, but basically it all turned to crap because of personal power. There was all this behind the scenes manipulation in what should have been a very constructive organization. Kaiser didn't need the medical association. Kaiser had their own set of lawyers and everything. They addressed the state on issues, but they needed the CMA to shut up.
All right.
So now, I'm just giving that as an example, and that's why I don't think that we can ever get to a situation where you have a wonderful organization that just does good. I just don't- I,
No, I don't think that is possible at all with us human beings. But I
yeah,
do feel like we have to, like I feel like we need to indeed address that and and recognize the 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 potential for making a more positive world if we did accept the limits of growth. And here with our SB 9 and 10, they're part of the mechanism of speeding up growth. They're part of the mechanism that is rewarding the big guys, but also I think kind of in the veneer of doing it for everybody, making it better for everybody.
As Jay was talking about, all I could think of was the best intentions. Then I thought of Mickey Mouse with the sorcerer's hat on, and he energizes the broom
Right.
and then carrying buckets of water and until it gets out of control. And then you have to have some sort of calamity that forces everything to go back to whatever. Uh, uh, and I think about that as far as the state's concerned. One party rule is a tough way to go because you're not going to get very much fairness at all.
Or
And
examination of the depth of any issue, I would say. Great analogy, the Sorcerer's Apprentice. I've forgotten all about that, but
oh yeah, and this whole thing that's going on with the housing, the many facets that come in there. If different individuals say, well, if you're a single family owner, you are a racist, and instead of saying, well, if you want to keep your eyes on the prize, then shoot for being a single family owner because you'll be able to build up equity and pass on something to your kids. And speaking of that, part of the $3 trillion package that's coming down the line is a 40% tax on passing your property off to your kids. Yeah, that's going to be huge.
I hadn't heard of that.
I don't know. Real estate in this state. I mean, my background is the trades, plumbers and pipe fitters and all that. And our people are, hey, more and more housing, more this and more that. And my issue is, well, if you do that, then you're going to have to build desal plants and this, that, and the other thing. Oh, great. That's more for us on the plumbing end.
Yeah. That's the Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's all the broomsticks and the more and more.
Yeah.
It's hard. I guess if we wanted to make a utopia, along the lines of Atlas Shrugged, and Ayn Rand's book. Well,
yes.
I mean, if we wanted to really make things optimal for the vast majority of people, then that means that at the upper end you have to give back a little bit, or take a little less, and that kind of goes against human nature. I mean, we want to be getting better. We want to make things better for our kids, and that's I think at all levels, lower, upper. So maybe we do need to have large apartment buildings where everybody has the same unit. You all pitch in and clean the property, and and everybody's got equal, but it removes motivation then. I mean, that's how I would see it. And along the lines of the California and the property, I mean, we're all pretty sure that the politicians are doing this because the developers and certain other big interests want more housing. They'll benefit from more housing one way or another. Either they get to have the developments, or they get to do the construction, the plumbers, the electricians, all that. And so each person is what's good for my union, what's good for me. And
Right.
nobody really looks at what's good for kind of everybody. It's really a complex thing. And let me just mention this. I know it bothers, I'm sure it bothers Rick, and I know it bothers Susan. I spend a lot of my time doing trading options, stock market stuff. And we talked about this at Catalyst in terms of water. There are more and more commercial entities buying up water rights all over the place. I mean, I think I doubled my money in like a month or 2 months. Just in one business entity that was buying water rights. It's sort of leveled off, but it's still going up. And then with all this nonsense about Blackstone, I would say a month ago, I started buying shares and options. I don't know if you're familiar with options, but it's a leveraged kind of thing. So where the stock goes up 10% over a certain period, you might double your money. Well, in the last month, I've doubled my money on Blackstone. That's the reality of the real estate. And I'm not saying I want to see more of it, but that's the way the horse is going.
Right.
You might as well ride it in the direction it's going. And it's up to the legislators to stop going for campaign funding. I mean, if they would stop doing that, then Blackstone type organizations wouldn't be able to do what they're doing. And I would invest in something else.
It's the numbers are huge, and it's to me, the hedge fund stuff, it comes down to there's some individual. There's a guy named Mike and Larry and Frank in their homes in Long Island or perhaps in Ross, California, or wherever they are, and they're caught up in this game, and we're all caught up in this game. And it's I think it's somehow for those of us who aren't caught up in that game,
Right.
I think we need to.
Well,
Me, I feel like I need to encourage the younger generation to think different. Because when you start just buying things because you can make a profit on them, it's dangerous. It's a Sorcerer's Apprentice stuff again. That's what I think. East Bay Mud. Here's a story. I should be wrapping this up, but did you see about how East Bay Mud has sued Contra Costa County as well as the Sierra Club? Did you see that story in the Mercury News?
no, I did not.
Well,
why are they suing?
The district, East Bay Mud, has maintained for years that it doesn't have enough water to supply the homes, and it alleges it was illegal for the county to approve the project knowing the district had no water to give. Contra Costa County approved a couple of months ago a extension of what there was their urban limit so that they can build another 120 home development near the Blackhawk thing. But I thought it was interesting that East Bay Mud had the courage or whatever to actually sue the county. eBay Mud spokeswoman Andrea Polk said the district has opposed the project since it was first proposed more than a decade ago. The drought we're facing is a really good reminder to all of us that water is precious, and we need to be mindful and thoughtful about how a water agency can serve its population and residents both and now in the future. Anyways, that just was.
Well, if I'm the attorney for Contra Costa, I'm going to say, how in the hell can you do a water deal with Marin Municipal?
Is that what's going on?
That doesn't make any sense.
Well,
to
wait a
me.
minute. Now inform me of that, Rick. Is East Bay Mud not actually selling its water to MMW?
They're doing a water swap. So they're going to swap. In fact, maybe Jay's going to sell some of his water rights, out there, and they're going to make a swap with East Bay Mud, and it'll be like an NBA trade, a player to be named later or something like that. But that's what Marin Municipal is going to. They're going to construct a $65 million pipe across the Richmond San Rafael Bridge.
I thought that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, well, apparently they think so.
Oh,
And
Marin thinks so.
Well,
Marin thinks so. So their board just voted on going for that pipe. So they've thrown $3 million out there to do the projected study. So and the people over here are going crazy because they want a desal plant. They don't want the pipeline.
Yeah.
So,
well,
Guy, let me just follow up with that. Rick and
Okay.
I discussed this quite a bit at Catalyst, because I thought that the drought people should be impacting all this legislation. Like you say, East Bay Mud,
right.
And I had spoken with a public information person for East Bay Mud. Happens to live in Alameda, but I didn't know that at the time. And she said they have no political interest in all of this. She said we don't tell them not to be building. Our job is to find the water, and so they get involved when it's the size of the pipes and things like that. If the developer can't get water to those and have hookups, that's when East Bay Mud gets involved. And she said all East Bay Mud would do is buy more water from someplace else, and then the price goes up. And so she wasn't willing to get involved. I was saying, East Bay Mud needs to be speaking out on these things. And she says, no, our job is just to provide the water. So I'm really excited to hear about this suit, because that's what they should have been doing. And they should have been involved in all this stuff.
Right.
And the State Water Agency, I forget what it's called, the State Water Board or something.
right.
They should have been speaking up on all this. And they just sat with their, thumbs up their butts.
Yeah. You know what, guys? I think that's, it's a little bit of an optimistic note there with that story. And I think that in Marin County and in Rick Water District, North Marin Water District, which didn't say anything while Nevada approved this big building complex, while things are looking incredibly dire. I think we're hoping that that somebody, East Bay Mud or the people of California in general, find some way of saying, hold your horses. And that's.
Well, I could see that happening. We have a third year like the previous two, and it's going to be all hands on deck. It's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
See, the people who are making these decisions, they aren't planning the larger picture.
Absolutely.
And they're sort of bureaucrats watching each of their own areas, and that's why the COVID epidemic got so bad. People need to be rereading the Peter Principle. I don't know if you remember that book from back in the 60s, I think. That is what's at play with the miserable response to the COVID epidemic. I tried to get involved with the Alameda County Health. People didn't return calls. It was just totally incompetence. And that's what we saw every place. And it's not just that because Trump took his particular stand. There are bureaucrats all over the country that could have spoken out, but they didn't. They just kept their heads down. So anyway, sorry.
All right, guys, I thank you. It's been a fine conversation, a good conversation.
Yeah.
And we'll keep the fires burning. Good
Watch
chat.
out. Plenty of fire up in Lake Tahoe right now.
People on this in America, I think, and we
Yeah,
can-
we'll just keep selling bonds.
That's it. All right, guys, that's it.
right.
That's the last
Okay.
word. Thank you, Jay.
Take care,
Thanks,
Jay.
Guy. Yeah, take care.
Take
See ya.
care, guy.
You got